everyone, my name is Rebecca Wandell. For my instructional session, I wanted to focus on teaching first year students how to use the citation management software program called Zotero. I first learned about this actually as a graduate student in my first year of this program. I can't tell you enough how helpful it would have been to know about this during my undergraduate career where I was a history major. I wrote a lot of research papers. This would have been very helpful for me in that instance. So for my instructional session, basically I would start off explaining that Zotero is, in its most basic sense, a reference manager. Like I said, it's also called a citation management software program. What it allows you to do is store, manage, and cite bibliographic references, such as books and articles. Now, for this, I wanted to do a screencast of me using Zotero, basically as I would if I had students in front of me. I would be going through it with them, demonstrating how to do all of the steps that I'm going to talk about, in the next 20 to 30 minutes. So basically, the session would start with the students setting up collections. Now, this program allows you to make collections, or we would know them better probably as folders. That's what we would most likely see on like our Windows computer when we separate our documents into different folders. Same principle with Zotero, except they're called collections. Students would then, I would show them how to make the folder, which is right here. You come over here, hover over it, it says new collection. It's a folder with a plus sign. You can also go to File, New Collection, and set it up there. That's the first thing students are going to want to learn, because when they start their research project, they're going to want to immediately have those folders set up for when they start finding resources. They can put them right into those folders immediately. I would ask students to set up 2 to 3 folders based off of projects that they have. One specifically, a project coming up for their first year seminar class, and then a folder for another project that they may know of that they have coming up. For me, myself, I just did research project. I haven't put anything in there. And then history paper, where I have already saved some resources. It's just generic information at this point. So the students would probably have about 2 to 3 minutes to think about projects that they have coming up and create their folders. So in the meantime, I would be walking around the room, answering any questions that they did have, showing them where to go if they couldn't find it, and things like that. The next thing that we would do is go over to the school's website, the library website, to do a basic search. In this case, I would guide the search just to save a little bit of time in the long run. So students would be asked to search for information on the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Students would then choose 3 sources to put into their collection on Zotero. Now, I can't go back and forth to my internet, so I can't show you how, but in this case, in a classroom setting, students would be able to see everything I do. To save a resource to Zotero, when you're on the web page itself, or on the resource, the book page or the journal article, things like that, there'll be a little icon up at the top next to the web address bar. If you hover over it, it says Save to Zotero. You'll then see a little pop-up down in your bottom corner. It says Saving to it'll say the collection name, and it'll save the information right in there. I did it with a book. This is the book type, and it gives you this information after you've saved it. Book type, title, author, publisher, date, all that information. This is a journal article I've saved. And this was a web page that I had. It's a web page to a newspaper article is what that other source was. So students would have roughly, I would probably give them 5 to 7 minutes to put, at least 3 resources into one of their project folders, even if it doesn't directly apply to the actual project. For just learning's sake, they can use the information on the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. So after students have done that, I would want to show them, this is storing information. This is showing them how you store the sources within Zotero. The next thing we're going to learn about is how to manage and organize that information just a little bit better within Zotero. So what we want to do, I'd show them how to make tags. Now, the tags are something that students could use to basically organize their sources a bit better, like I said. These are tag words, descriptive words added by the student, whatever comes to their mind about this resource. In this case, I added 2, assassination, book, just easy things for the time being. Also, it's important to mention, I've previously forgot, you can add items not just from the web page that you're on or the browser. You could add items by their identifier. So if you click on this little magic wand here, you can add it by their ISBNs, DOIs, PMIDs. You can add from this way, the little plus sign, new item when you hover over it, book section, document, journal, newspaper, whatever the resource is. So students would be given, I would say, 5 minutes total to assign some of the tags to their, to the resources that they have saved in their collection. Now, as students are doing this, again, I'd be walking around the room asking any questions that they might have, making sure that they're understanding exactly how to navigate Zotero and things like that. It's important that it's a very hands-on instructional session for them, so that they do remember the information when they go back to do this in the future, because hopefully it is something that students would want to use and would be helpful to them in the future with their research projects, as it was in my graduate career. So aside from being able to assign tags for easy searching later in Zotero, you can also add notes when you first add a resource to Zotero. I use this a lot as putting in information of why basically I chose this article. What about this article applies to my project, or what stood out about it and was important to me. So students would be asked to add notes to each one of their resources that they have saved in there. Again, students would be given about 5 minutes to do this. I would show them how to do it here. I've added one previously here, but basically, if you're on your resource, you go over to notes, you hit add, and then you can type in the information that you want to add to it. So those are really good ways to organize and manage your resources within Zotero. They're important to students being able to look back later to see, why did I save this source in the first place? Research projects are done in multiple steps. They're not done all at once. So it's important to, leave yourself reminders of why you chose a resource. That's the really nice thing about the notes, is it lets you do that. So in this case, we're just going to move this item to trash. We didn't need that many notes. Move item to trash. Good thing to know there too, sometimes technology fails, it glitches a little bit, runs a little slow. This is where they would type in their note information, so gives an older perspective about the assassination, because this book was from 1901. So it's going to have information that's a lot different than maybe we know now, things like that. So aside from being able to save your tags and your notes, you can use Zotero to create citations for your sources that you have saved in your library. Now, Zotero has the ability to create citations for APA format, MLA, Chicago, and other formats. So to see the different formats that you can do, you would go to, it's over under Edit, go to Preferences. Up Site is right here, and it allows you to look at the different formats that they do have. Different styles is what they call them. So that's really helpful depending on, the class you're doing. You might need to be working with different citations, different formats. So it's very helpful that Zotero can create the citation for you. Specifically, Zotero calls it bibliographies when you are looking for the full citation. If you do the citation button on Zotero, it's going to create your in-text citation. So that's an important differentiation to know. Now it's important, even though Zotero can create the citations for you, it's important to make sure that they are correct. Technology is imperfect, so you always want to make sure that the information that it's providing you is correct by going to, other resources such as Purdue OWL online to make sure that the citations are correct in the right format based off of the assignment that you're doing. It will help to cut down some time to create the citations for you, but like I said, bear in mind they could be wrong and you're going to want to check and make sure. Now, even if you don't use Zotero to create the citations for you, it's nice to have all the information easily listed right here. By having that all there, you can put the citation together really quickly, really simply, and become familiar with building them yourselves, but at least the information's a little bit more central for you, opposed to if you were looking at the information on the web page itself or the journal. If you have the PDF up, sometimes it's hard to find the volume number, the page numbers, and things like that. So the citation creation feature of Zotero is very, very helpful, but again, it shouldn't be used as an end-all be-all. It should be used as a guideline for students. So the next, I would have students work on creating the citations. So we would open up Microsoft Word really quick, because what you do is you go up to this Edit tab, and then Copy Bibliography. That's what you would want to click on in order to create your bibliography or your citation. Once you're in Microsoft Word, if you just do Control-V or right-click and paste, you'll see your citation come up that way. So I would give students probably 5 or so minutes to do that for the the different resources that they have here. Now, there's a lot of other things you can do with Zotero. I just wanted to go over the very basics of it. This is good for, the instructional session is geared towards first year students. You don't want to provide them with too much information that's going to be overwhelming to them. So it's important to just, start slow, provide information that, helps them get started. They can always explore Zotero on their own. There's help buttons here to support, troubleshoot, things like that. The rest of the instructional session, I would say at this point we would have probably taken up a good half hour or so of the session. I want to reserve about maybe 10 minutes at the end for an assessment. So the other 10 to 15 minutes that we have available, I would probably have students just move some more sources and actually maybe start working on if they do have any realistic projects that they would want to, start thinking about their sources for and things like that. They would have the time to be doing that now at the end of the session. So basically, that's my session in the, short, condensed version. The point of the session is really just to teach students about a software program that they probably had never heard of. Like I said, I hadn't heard of this program until I was a graduate student, and I'm really remorseful about that because I really think it would have been very, very valuable to me to know about the citation management software when I was an undergraduate student. Now, Zotero is not the only one out there. There's another program, EndNote. I think it's important just to know that there are resources out there for students to help them become better organized. in their undergraduate career and in their first year, they're probably doing a lot of things they'd never done before, in terms of maybe papers and research projects. I know personally I had to write a 20-page paper. I had never written one before, so it was a very daunting task for me at the time. And I really think that learning about this in their first year of their undergraduate career would be immensely helpful. So that's what I have for my session. I hope you do, you think that it's useful as well. I would love to hear feedback on it, and just let me know what you think. Thank you very much.